What's up and welcome back to my channel. Excuse me, I don't know if this is just allergies or if this is cold or what the heck it is, but my nose has just been running the entire week. Well, not the entire week, really, this just started today. I don't know, super annoying. Anyway, welcome back. Thank you. If this is... Let's see, if you're watching this in the morning, good morning. If you're watching this in the evening, good evening. Afternoon, good afternoon, etc. So, this week on The Walking Dead, no spoiler review. Tara, stuff happened. She's out there with, I think, Ethan still. That's him. Okay, to get back into what actually happened this week, we get to find out what Tara has been up to, where she's been, what's going on with her. Excuse me. So it starts out, and you see this little girl on the beach. We learn later her name is Rachel, with another younger gal. Her name we learn is Cindy. Anyway, they are on the beach, and Rachel spears Walker, a bobber as she's calling it, because it's just this dead body kind of just bobbing in the water. And it's really weird, because like the children in this, they are growing up in such a different way than any of the adults on this show have had to. They're growing up... There's no real innocence. There's absolutely zero innocence for anything that these kids have had to go through. They're just always in this perpetual state of... They've always had this threat. And they've never known a world where they didn't have this kind of catastrophe, this sort of calamity. So yeah, it's just side note, really weird to see that this is how the kids have been growing up. This is like totally normal. She's totally fine with this. This little girl Rachel, she is totally 100% fine with the fact that, you know, she just speared this thing. She gets ready to... So she spears the first walker, and she sees this other body, and she goes over and gets ready to spear this one, and that's when Cindy comes over and she's like, no, stop, this one's actually alive. And we find out that's Tara. That's what happened to Tara. She washed up on this little beach thing. For the most part, this seemed like this was just kind of a filler episode. You know, not a whole lot of stuff happened. I mean, like the biggest thing that I took away from this episode was, you know, the Saviors. They're vile. They're just a horrible group. They've done awful things, and they're going to continue to do awful things just to try to get their way. You know, they have nothing against just straight up brutality. You know, that's their, it's a means to the end for them, and you know, the ends justifies the means. And yeah, man, the Saviors, they're just brutal. You know, we end up hearing from older lady. We just met her. This is the only time we've seen her so far. Her name starts with an N. I want to say Natalia, but I know it's totally not Natalia. Anyway, she ends up telling a story, and you know, later on gets pieced out through another gal named Beatrice that the Saviors ended up... this is a community that... One of the first things that I really noticed about this is a community of, you know, like all women who are running it. It's, you know, which, whatever, it's a point of fact. It's a community of all women. So you end up finding out that the reason behind that is the Saviors, this community, they worked for the Saviors at one point, and they were told to do something, and instead they tried to rebel, they tried to fight back, and in response to that, the Saviors killed every male over the age of 10. That was the Saviors, that was their way to try to regain or maintain or whatever control over this group. So yeah, you know, you really just, more than anything, this episode was just kind of just reestablishing the fact that the Saviors are just vile and brutal. That's really the only thing that I took away from this episode. You know, you find out a little bit about Tara, but for the most part, no, this was just a filler episode. It was okay. It was, it wasn't a bad episode. Um, I kept really hoping that this was going to turn out like, excuse me, a couple seasons ago there was an episode that I totally thought was going to be all filler, but it ended up being one of my favorite episodes, and actually, despite being one of my favorite episodes, it's one that I don't think I could ever rewatch. It was the episode with Morgan and the dude that taught him Aikido. Oh my god, that's gonna drive me crazy. I'm usually really meticulous about this stuff and I try to plan this out, but I can't remember his name. Anyway, that episode started out, seemed like it was gonna be filler, but it ended up being actually just an amazingly beautiful, awesome episode, and I can't watch it again because it gets really, really, really sad. I kind of feel that way about just the way that this season started too, everything with Glenn. It was a good episode, but I don't think I'm gonna be rewatching that ever. That was not good. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. Getting ready for Westworld now. Season 1, Episode 9. The show has been amazing. It's one of my favorite new shows. It's just incredible. It's very engaging, very science fiction-y. Anthony Hopkins is in it, who I will always equate him with Hannibal Lecter, and I mean that in the best way possible. Yeah, no, pretty pumped about that. It's season 1, episode 9, and anything that I can tell you about any HBO shows, episode 9 of 10 episode seasons, episode 9 is always when the bad stuff happens, or always when the game-changing stuff happens. Game of Thrones, that was, Ned's death, that was episode 9. Red Wedding was in episode 9. The Mountain and the Viper, I believe that was in episode 9. Battle of the Bastards from this last season was episode 9. So a lot of big stuff always happens in episode 9 out of 10. So I don't know, I'm kind of, I'm cautiously optimistic about this one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching this. This is a very small little thing that I just do just for me more than anything else, and I don't know. This is kind of fun for me, so I'm not the best at this by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know, this is a lot of fun, so thank you very much for watching it. And I know last episode I was drinking wine. In this episode, Molson Canadian. It's not going to be a recurring thing, don't worry. Thanks for watching.